I found out she was married on a Tuesday afternoon. Not from her, not from a confession. Not from a fight that finally broke everything open. I found out because her husband called me. 5 years I had loved this woman. 5 years I had built my entire future around her. 5 years of believing every single word she said. And in one phone call on a Tuesday afternoon, all of it became a lie. My name is Adam. I am 34 years old. I am a civil engineer from Manchester. And I'm going to tell you the story of 5 years of my life that were not what I thought they were. I want to be honest before I start. I debated sharing this for a long time, because telling this story means admitting how completely I was fooled. It means admitting that the person I thought I knew better than anyone, I did not know at all. But if even one person listening to this recognizes something familiar in what I'm about to say, then it is worth the discomfort of telling it. So here we go. I met Claire at a work conference 5 years ago. She was there representing her company. I was there representing mine. We ended up at the same table during lunch on the second day completely by accident. She was funny and sharp and completely unlike anyone I had met in a long time. We talked through the entire lunch and then stood outside the conference hall talking for another hour after that. She gave me her number before she left. I texted her that same evening. We started dating 2 weeks later. From the very beginning, there were things I noticed but explained away. She was never available on weekends. She had a rule about not answering calls after 9 in the evening. She never invited me to her home. We always met at mine or at restaurants or hotels when we traveled together. She was private about her personal life in a way that I read as independence rather than secrecy. I told myself she was a modern woman with boundaries. I told myself not every relationship had to follow the same timeline. I told myself I was not the kind of man who needed constant access to his partner. I told myself a lot of things. What I did not tell myself, what I refused to even consider, was that there might be a reason she was never free on weekends. A reason she never answered calls after 9. A reason I had never once been inside the home she lived in. By year 2, I was in love with her completely. By year 3, I was thinking about proposing. I had even looked at rings. I remember standing in a jewelry shop on a Saturday afternoon alone because she was never available on Saturdays, holding a ring and imagining the moment I would give it to her. I did not buy it that day. Something stopped me. I told myself I was just not ready yet. Looking back, I think some part of me already knew. Not consciously, but somewhere underneath everything, some quiet part of me that I kept silencing already knew that something was not right. Year 4, she started pulling away, not dramatically. Just slightly. Calls got shorter. Meetings became less frequent. She seemed distracted in a way she had not been before. I asked her once if everything was okay. She said she was just stressed with work. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. By year 5, I had stopped looking at rings. I had stopped planning. Something in me had quietly given up on the future I had imagined without fully admitting it to myself. And then one Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang with a number I did not recognize. I almost did not answer. The man on the other end introduced himself. He said his name. He said he was Claire's husband. He said they had been married for 7 years. I sat down. I do not remember deciding to sit. I was just suddenly sitting. He was calm, unnervingly calm. He said he had known about me for some time. He said he had decided to call because he felt I deserved to know the truth. He said he was sorry for what she had done to me. He was apologizing to me. Her husband was apologizing to me. I thanked him. I do not know why I thanked him. I hung up the phone and I sat in complete silence for a very long time. Then I called her. She answered on the 3rd ring. Her voice was normal. Warm even. She asked me how my day was going. I told her I had just spoken to her husband. The silence that followed lasted about 4 seconds. 4 of the longest seconds of my life. And then she said, "Adam, I can explain." I told her there was nothing to explain. I told her I understood perfectly. And I hung up. She called back 11 times that evening. I did not answer once. She sent messages, long ones. Explanations and apologies and reasons that went on for paragraphs. I read every single one. I did not reply to any of them. The weeks that followed were the strangest of my life. People expect betrayal to feel like rage, like screaming and confrontation and dramatic scenes. Mine felt like standing in a room where all the furniture had been removed. Everything looked the same. The walls were still there. The floor was still there. But everything that had made it feel like somewhere real was gone. I went through the entire 5 years in my head looking for the moments I had missed. And the truth is, they were everywhere. The excuses I had accepted without question. The boundaries I had respected without examining. The questions I had stopped myself from asking because I did not want to seem insecure or demanding. I had been so determined to be the understanding partner that I had understood myself right into 5 years of a lie. My friends were furious on my behalf. My brother wanted to confront her. My mother cried when I told her. Everyone around me felt the anger that I could not quite access myself. Because underneath the anger, underneath all of it, was something much quieter and much harder to sit with. I felt foolish, not because I had loved someone that I do not regret, but because I had ignored so many things for so long, because I had been so willing to explain away every sign, because I had built 5 years of a future in my head on top of something that was never real. It took me a long time to understand something my therapist said about 6 months after everything fell apart. She said, "You were not fooled because you were naive. You were fooled because you were trusting, and trust is not a weakness. It is what made you the kind of man worth loving. The problem was never your trust. The problem was who you gave it to." I wrote that down and kept it for a long time. I'm not going to tell you I recovered quickly. I did not. The first year was genuinely dark, but I came through it. Slowly and not always gracefully, but I came through it. I'm not with anyone right now. I am not in a rush. I'm taking my time in a way I did not before. Paying attention to things I used to explain away. Asking questions I used to stop myself from asking. Trusting my gut in a way I had learned to ignore. Because here is what 5 years of loving someone who was not available to be loved properly taught me. The signs are almost always there. The quiet things that do not quite add up. The explanations that make sense individually but feel slightly wrong as a pattern. The part of you that keeps asking a question you keep refusing to answer. Listen to that part. Not because everyone is hiding something, but because you deserve to be with someone who has nothing to hide. I deserve that. I know that now, and I'm not going to settle for anything less ever again.